there! Welcome to our Firestop Coffee Break training. My name is Sharon and I am so excited that you're joining me. This is our very first series that we want to share with you on fire stopping head of wall joints on gypsum walls. Fire stop at head of wall joints are pretty basic, but it's astonishing how often something so basic gets fire stopped so wrong. I've been in construction for over 20 years and I used to think I've seen it all. But it never ceases to amaze me what contractors will do. Some of it is absolutely wonderful, and some of it's downright horrifying. We have the same focus in all of our Firestop Coffee Break training series. If you're one of the people who understands that Firestop is an important element of the life safety of your building, and you want to know how to do it right, then this entire series was designed for you. To understand the installations on a higher level, we have to go back to how the assemblies are tested. When you do this, you better understand how the systems can fail and what to look for to ensure things are done right. We'll start with ASTM E119 and UL 263, which is how fire-rated assemblies are tested. Then, when you have to connect these two fire-rated assemblies, you can imagine the test standard for connecting them will be similar, but one thing that's different is that the connection between those two rated assemblies may require movement. We'll break this discussion into two different topics. One, we'll see how rated joints are actually tested, and the other will be a discussion about the movement. We'll go briefly into how they're tested, but you really don't need to know a lot about that unless you're actually doing the test. You really need to know what to do with the information. So, we have a separate video on movement, what it means, and how to make sure that the movement allowances of your Firestop detail conform with the requirements of your structural engineer. Did you know that the size of the joint makes a huge difference? You'll understand all of that when we're done with that particular segment. I wonder, how many structural engineers have discussions about fire-rated joints? Hopefully, when you're done with this series, it will be every structural engineer that you work with. Then we'll talk about fire stopping these head of wall joints with sealant. Clearly, this is a basic installation, but when you understand everything that we're sharing in this first series of videos, you'll look at these applications differently. We'll walk you through the fire stop details and what to look for in the field installation to ensure that it's properly installed. Now, sealant is the most common solution for head of wall joints to a flat concrete deck. When you're working with a fluted metal deck, things are going to change. Most installations that I see will be completed with a Firestop spray. Whenever you deal with the Firestop spray, you'll have to use mineral wool as a backing material. So, before we get into the Firestop details, we'll want to talk about the mineral wool and all of the critical things that you need to check on depending on your Firestop detail. The next part of the installation will be the Firestop spray, so that will be your next training. Once you have all of that under your belt, we'll tear into a few Firestop details so that you can compare your field work to your paperwork. With that, we will have covered all of the traditional Firestop head of wall applications, and it'll be time to show you some new head of wall solutions. Just in case they show up on your project, we want you to know that they're installed correctly. Now, a quick disclaimer, the last group of videos are sponsored. So we'll show you the sponsors' head of wall Firestop devices. And the thing I like the most about this is that they let me point out every little way that you might possibly install the various products wrong, because they want to be sure that if you're using their products, that you're doing it right. How awesome is that? I'm not going to tell you what material you have to use on your project because as long as it's done right, quite frankly, it doesn't matter to me. But after this series, you'll be able to compare the different solutions and make a decision that is best for your project. You also need to know that this is a primer course for the other joint trainings. If your project has shaft walls, please be sure to watch the series on that as well, because you may be surprised with the information that we share in that series. A lot of people are. Then if your project is going to use a fluted metal deck, watch that series so that you know exactly what to look for those applications as well. Whenever you're ready, we can get started with your Firestop Coffee Break training. Thanks for joining me.